Okay, this is Patricia Cori coming to you from the Azores Islands off the coast of Portugal. And I think I'm coming to you. I'm not sure if I've got the technology working, but if it is, shoot me a message or some sign that you're out there listening. So the reason okay, thank you, Danielle. Good, so it's working. Unbelievable. I, who am absolutely the worst when it comes to technology, have managed this simple task. This is a good thing. I'm coming today because there's a big buzz right now in the internet / ET community circles regarding the New York Times information that came out with the so-called leak regarding the secret space program. Oh, sorry, not secret space program, secret alien investigation program in the top echelon of secret government. I take anything that comes from the government, whether it's somebody coming clean within the system or somebody who was in the system and for reasons unknown has left, with a huge grain of salt. But nonetheless, there's a lot of excitement around this, and I want to address it. Now, I just heard Linda Moulton Howe, very excited. Obviously, she's a disclosure reporter for so many years. And she was talking about how the information that was coming out from them was excitedly discussing, hi, everybody. Oh, I'm so glad to see so many people listening in. Wonderful. Thank you. I was saying that Linda was talking about the amazement that the information source had to say about how quickly these craft move in space, the fact that they turn 90 degrees, they're in and out, they're blinking off and on, what's going on. And I thought it was really remarkable, since I had the interview with Jimmy Church the other day, which, God, so many people plugged into that interview. And there was quite a buzz about it. And in that interview, I talked about this fact that, oh gee, was it with him or with Alfred Weber? I don't remember now. I might be misquoting myself. Anyway, I have talked in interviews about how craft move at 90-degree angles, which defies any physics that we currently understand about aerospace. So I thought this is a wonderful time to introduce, guess what? My new book. Well, it's not mine, it's the council's new book. Let me get this into frame. I always like to say that because as a channel, I need to be in that humility to recognize that I'm only in service to this information and to this wonderful presence that more and more people are feeling, and that I don't have ownership to the information in the book. That said, I thought it'd be fun to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank you, so many of you, and all of your excitement about the new material and the new book. I don't remember ever seeing this much excitement about any of the Sirian information. It's quite interesting. I think it's because we need some positive, powerful information about where we're headed. And when we're weeding through all of the wealth of diverse information in all of its range of absurdity to highly scientific to supposed input from authorities, etc. The New Syrian Revelations brings in the truth, as I understand it, and so many of you do, and the truth has got some very difficult things for us to deal with, and at the same time, wonderfully positive. Hope Empowered is the name of one of the chapters, and I think that would describe the book in many ways. So I would like to take this opportunity, and I'm going to be doing more of these since I can figure out the technology. I'm going to be doing more live readings for you and more live presence for you at this time. All right, here goes. And if you have questions, I'm going to try to pay attention since it's my first time here. I don't know how to navigate this very well, but I'll pause and see if there field any questions. And if not, I'll just keep reading. I'm going to read to you about 2 pages. So bear with me. Here we go. And this again is addressing the question of craft moving in space. Space as we know it is not space as they know it. And we need to be thinking about multidimensional space in new ways. And the council is giving us that. So here we go. Excuse me. This is from the chapter entitled, What a Time to Choke on My Coffee. Stargates, Wormholes, and Portals. Here we go. If you wish to understand how true motion and propulsion manifest in space through the universal grid, you must first learn to explore your own physical realm, reminded that the greater universe, the macrocosm, is by nature of all reality, one and the same as the microcosmic representation of all creation. If you speed up subatomic elements, achieving a frenzy of energetic activity, matter heats up and expands. If you slow it down, the opposite occurs, cooling and constricting. Master this, and you master travel through space. You need to know how to alter the subatomic makeup and the behavior of matter. Something like microwaving the space in front of the craft, cooling and constricting the space behind. This is how a ship can be made to jettison forward or backward at will. It is more about altering space than it is about the craft itself. And you know, if you think about this, it's so simple. Anybody who has any knowledge or ever took a high school biology class knows that molecules expand with heat and contract with cold. So genius, change the space. You don't have to build the machines. You don't have to have these giant penises erected that take off from the earth in these stations everywhere. Houston, for example, and all over the other hidden places, because I do believe there are also hidden craft going off, but that's a question for another day. All you need to do is master, understand space. So this is going to defy even the question of anti-gravity and the excitement we have about UFOs and information that we believe has to do with anti-gravity machines. And simply, okay, sorry, I'm getting questions. It's really hard for me to hold my concentration. Have I read it already? Duh. Yes, Guillermo. Funny that you would ask that question, because never before have I been so detached from any of the material from the council. It's like I read it and think, seriously, how did I produce this information and have so little awareness of it until now rereading it? So yeah, I've read it. And I'm reading it over and over and again. And each time I'm getting more and more information. And I'm also getting that weird vibrating from the book that people have told me about, and I've never understood. It's happening to me with this book too. So how exciting is that? Okay, back to the discussion of changing, altering space to move the craft. I said that. All right. Movement in any direction. And remember, we're told in this latest information that's been published in the New York Times that there's a big buzz about how possibly craft could move 90 degrees. Well, I've seen it personally. I had 50 people up at the Temple of Hatshepsut a couple of years ago. I had them in private access at the temple. We were meditating, and I said, "Stop meditating, open your eyes." And I called out and said, please come, show yourselves. You've given me so much, please come for them. And immediately a craft appeared. I mean, I'm just talking about blink out of nowhere, this giant light traversed the space over our heads. And somebody said, well, I'm going to say holy crap, but that's not what they said. Let's say holy crap. Holy crap. What is that? And this craft took an immediate 90-degree turn. And somebody else said, no way. And it did another 90-degree turn and kept on trucking across the sky. So I think it's really very exciting that this is coming up now, the description of what we're being told has been witnessed. All right, so here we go again. Movement in any direction can be manipulated by utilizing technology that simply alters the space around the craft. So when you see an unidentified flying object take a 90-degree turn in the night sky, know that this is the exact method its navigators are utilizing to propel their craft. Since no organization on Earth has yet acquired that capacity, you can pretty much consider, for the moment at least, that ships that are exhibiting such navigational dexterity are of unearthly origins. And that's important because I do believe, and I'm sure many of you do too, that so many craft that we're seeing, unidentified, so-called unidentified craft, are actually of the human variety. Whether these are imitations or reconstructs of craft that crashed and they've got hiding in Area 51, or whether this is new technology designed by hyper-American engineers. Nonetheless, according to the council, they haven't mastered this ability to turn a 90-degree angle because they still haven't learned of the nature of space. Back to the book. By nature of that process, it is clear that the deliberate expansion of space in any given direction will create tunnels or tubes through which to travel, although it is also the case that tunnels or valves in space can exist as a naturally occurring phenomenon of the field. All biological forms exhibit some form of intake and elimination tubes in their construction. Your own physical being is a continuum of tubes, tunnels, and cords, blood, lymph, food intake and elimination tubes, and neural highways. Energy passes through the tubular constructs of your bodily systems for the purpose of moving energy, of nourishing every aspect of your being through biological intake, and of releasing all unnecessary waste. This is how your bioelectromagnetic form keeps vital parts of you alive and aware, and how it removes parts that have deteriorated or died, needing to be sloughed off for the well-being and proper maintenance of the overall mechanisms. Your lives are seed of the Father passing sperm through the urethral tube into the vaginal tube, where it is carried to the fallopian tubes of the mother to fertilize the ovum. From there, the fertilized egg gestates until the hour of birthing, at which time the new life passes back through the birth canal and is delivered to the outer world. I bet you're wondering, how does this relate to what they have to say about space? But it does. Contrarily, in death, the spirit leaves the material shell of the body or cellular form through the crown, journeying the astral cord through the ethers and on to its next stage of development, which can be another dimension, another incarnation, or for some, a place of nebulousness where the soul is trapped between dimensions, worlds, forms, or lives. This, the gray zone, also exists as a tunnel from which trapped souls struggle to find the exit portal. I might need to cut down here. Tubes or tunnels in space are not simply arbitrary energy vortices or portals, although these do naturally exist there. Instead, they serve as constructs carefully designed by intelligent species moving about, planet to planet, star system to star system, with greater speed, ease, and convenience than that which is currently being presented to the human race as quote-unquote space travel. Some of these are relatively fixed, while others are the temporary passageways of extremely knowledgeable astronauts and space engineers. Hold on, there's a question. Well, thank you, Guillermo writes, wow, it totally resonates. Amazing insight. Thank you. I can't wait until you've read the whole book, Guillermo. If you were a miniature traveler trying to get from one side to another of a hunk of Swiss cheese, would you choose to painstakingly burrow through the density of the matrix? Or would you simply pass through one hole to another until you reach the exit? If you had to get from one side of the city to another in record time, would you set out in the dense traffic where you know passage is inhibited by all manner of obstruction? Or would you jump onto a subway train and emerge on the other side of your city? We shall say that it is energetically economical to take the shortest path from one point to another, That is the simple, yet often overlooked paradigm of the construction of such tunnels in all fields, in all realms, and in all universes. How your government portrays space travel to your current societies and how they negate extraterrestrial visitation is found in their limited understanding of infinite space and dimension, one in which distances between worlds are portrayed as insurmountable, or at least out of reach for intergalactic contact. You are shown antiquated models of ships requiring monumental thrust to break away from Earth's magnetic force, traversing relatively close distances and then returning home. The truth is that your space teams are well beyond such futile exercises. They achieved time travel before your second global war, and with what they have retrieved from the future, they are propelling human civilization forward technology to their desired point of deliverance, whereby they believe they have seen Earth become a robotized, lifeless mining station in space. It is of the utmost importance that you read, or in this case, hear, the next sentence with absolute attention and the clearest focus. What these military time travelers do not understand is that actually they have not traveled to the future, and they are not witness to the future of Earth as they believe it to be. Rather, they have traveled to a simultaneous Earth. Can you dig this, guys? Where such a scenario has already taken hold, and one that is resonant to their belief systems and programming. Perhaps, if you are willing to stretch your imagination, you will realize that it is their own thirst for that end that has helped create it in the parallel or mirror world to yours. What we can tell you with absolute certainty is that no tubular construct exists in any state of being, in any dimension, unless it is there to serve the express purpose of functioning as a designated matrix through which energy passes from one space or specific density to another. Answers to the questions of where a wormhole or tunnel in space leads and what awaits it at the other end lie in the intent of the explorer, commercial traveler, or invading force. So that's just a quick little ditty from the book, and the tenor of the information has that power throughout. And I thought it was relevant because there's a lot of, like I said, buzz around this new information. I always invite people to listen with circumspection to what you're hearing. Run it through your discernment. I like to say words like bullshit machine, but I want to be polite. Use discernment always. Personally, I'm excited that more information is coming to us. We know that the time of disclosure is upon us. How that's going to be played out to us, none of us really knows yet. We're not sure yet. But I'm not going to just take what the government says or leaks or informants or anything of that nature. And I do have this, what I believe to be a great gift of having such a powerful source coming through for me and for us. And that's where I kind of prefer to take my information. So it's a great joy to share it with you. I love to have you think about that. If anybody's got any questions, type them in now before I leave you. But this is fun. If I can do live, I'll come to you more often. Hi, Dorothy. Thanks for tuning in. Thomas, Peggy. Oh, so many people are on. Thank you. And Sue, you're reading the book. Oh my God, that's another thing. I am so eager to have your feedback. The first reads have been remarkable, and I do thank you for your comments. I love what you have to say and feel. I love the excitement. I feel it too. And I'm very grateful for the reviews. You know, every so often you get a troll who goes on Amazon and says, this chick is out of her mind and this is a bunch of satanic hooey. And it goes with the territory. You're absolutely vulnerable when you're an author that anyone can write a review. So your good reviews, your honest reviews, really help other people find their way to the material. All right, well, that's I hope that you've given some thought to what I've read to you in relationship to what we're hearing about. Wow, these craft, they're traveling so fast, faster than we've ever seen. It's interesting. We're no longer talking about if there are alien beings. We're talking about how fast their craft fly. So this process of disclosure has been such a massaging of human consciousness. I mean, think about 20 years ago. Think about 20 years ago, which is how actually the Sirian revelation starts with that idea. Whoops, back in frame. It starts with 20 years ago when I brought through the first book, The Cosmos of Soul, and Bill Clinton came out and presented us with the so-called Martian rock. And could this possibly be bacteria in the rock? And my introduction to this is, seriously, guys, it took them 10 years in investigating this rock to A, decide it was from Mars, and B, decide that it might be but wasn't a fossilized form in the rock. The best scientists in the world, all of the universities, all the government funding, 10 years to find this out. And you gotta think we're being played just a little bit. But if you see me smiling and laughing all the time, it's because I find it humorous. At the same time, it's of course it's very serious what we are experiencing, and in every phase of our passing right now. But I choose to enjoy it, to see the humor in it, and bring that to how I cope with many of the issues that I struggle with, like anyone else, and that I'm fighting for, like so many of you. Okay, so please think about what I've read you. Get the book. Of course, I am also here to ask you to, if you haven't already, be sure to get the book. And we will have some forums on other people's experience of the material. And I just would like you to keep in mind what I read you, because think about it. If you can alter the space, and I want to leave you with this thought. If you understand space is alive, it has mind. How could it not? Everything has consciousness. So think of space, the material body of space, as a form, as some aspect of consciousness. It's not formless. It's not understood. But it's not an empty vortex or an empty void. It's full of life. It's full of planets, for starters, and stars and stardust and molecules and carbon and every ingredient, water that constitutes life is in space, material space, and consciousness. So while everybody's all buzzing about, well, how would these craft possibly be able to do this? Remember that if you can, and the council bring us this information, if you can understand space, you can simply alter the space to move through it at will. And as I brought up with either Jimmy or Alfred, I don't remember, I would like to consider also that aliens are, we've got to come up for a better word than that, beings from exoplanetary beings are also probably communicating telepathically with the consciousness of space. We are really going into a new way of perceiving everything now. So let's perceive space as a conscious space, consciousness that can actually be altered and manipulated either at the molecular, subatomic level, or actually consciously by beings who know how to communicate with that vastness of a conscious entity. How exciting is it? Oh my God, get ready, guys. Strap on your seatbelts, because things are going to be really getting wild in our reality as we move out of this density, this problematic duality, and begin more and more to experience the new dimensions. But not the new dimensions, the higher dimensions. All righty. Love you. Thank you always for your support. Oh, and by the way, Alfred Weber just put up the interview, the second interview I did with him, and I'm so vain that I hate to post it because I look so haggard. I can barely stand to look at myself on this video. But I'm going to do it because I'm going to face my vanity like a trooper and be prepared because I look like my own grandmother in this video. But there's wonderful information that Alfred is such a great interviewer and thinker. So I'm going to go ahead and post that soon, so watch for that. And maybe you can just listen without watching, because honestly, geez, this is the one where I'm gesticulating all over the place like this, and I'm just drawn and haggard, and that's also because it was late at night when I did the interview. But I promise I will overcome my vanity and put it up. All right, you sweethearts, thank you. I can't leave you without telling you the love that comes from all of you is just never ending. It fills my heart. And I want you to know that when I tell you my love around you, I really mean it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. At this phase of my life, it's wonderful to know there's so much love coming back. Thank you, angels. Take care. This is Pat Cori signing out. Peace out. Well, maybe I'm signing out if I can get my... No, I'm not signing out. I'm here to stay. Bye, everybody. I will be back soon with more live from Patricia Cori.